But Jim Marter is joining us. Jim, again, thank you for carving out a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to join us. I know a lot has gone on since we've last spoken.
Yes, absolutely. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Jim Marter. I'm here in the Illinois 14th District. Oswego is my home. It's where I raised my family, 4 kids. We have 3 grandchildren out here in the district, but the district's brand new. Illinois gerrymandering, redistricting. Although I'm liking my district, it's a place where I've worked hard and I'm known, and we're going to take it back.
Yeah. Well, originally, Jim, what district were you running in? And then, like you said, the gerrymandering that is going on, not only in Illinois, but around the country as well.
So I took on Adam Kinzinger, fake Republican in Illinois 16 district in 2018. Look, I knew then that he was not a good Republican. He was not a Republican in name only, never Trumper. He didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. And so, you come around, 2018, didn't get enough help, didn't get enough support. But look, everybody now, there's nobody in that district that can reelect him. So he's not running. He's done. He's over with. The districts have changed pretty dramatically. But a lot of that district there's still a lot of the counties in that district in that. But in my new district, some of the counties got transferred into my district. So I'm Illinois 14. We have LaSalle County, bits of Bureau, Putnam, and DeKalb, all counties that were either a part or wholly in that old 16th of Adam Kinzinger. And, it's time to set things right. I'm going to take the 14th back. Lauren Underwood's a target. So she is part of the squad, really. I mean, look at her. She votes with Pelosi and Biden 100% of the time, and it's time to take her out. But that's kind of how I got here. We started out in that, waiting for the maps to come out. They were supposed to be done last June. We actually didn't get them until the end of November before they were officially signed off on. They pushed our primary back. So normally we'd be voting this week. We're voting on June 28th, or that's election day. And we have what we call is 40 days of fraud. My friend Carol Davis from ICU calls it that. And she's right. We have 40 days of fraud leading up to the election. And then we have another 14 days of fraud after the election where votes are still being counted. They're being mailed in.
Yeah, you touched on fake Republican Adam Kinzinger, and before you came on, Jim, we read one of his statements from today. Curious to get your thoughts on this. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but
I have not seen it yet.
He says if Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us, which I think he's referring to the fake rhinos, that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win. I think that's the most important thing. He cannot be president again. Your take on that?
Look, this is who he is. By the way, he the Kinzinger clan, as I call him, he's not alone. We'll be talking about this soon in my race, but we effectively have members of the Kinzinger clan that I'm going head to head against, and we need to make sure that they are not elected, and we don't allow this to happen again. They all say all the great things. They say I'm Second Amendment. They say I'm for Constitution. They say all this stuff, and what we know is they don't do what they say when they get to Washington. That's the House Freedom Caucus motto. I'm a House Freedom Caucus candidate. Got to talk with Jim Jordan at CPAC again. I met him some years ago at an Illinois Conservative Union conference here in Illinois. I spoke with one of our great Illinois Congresswomen, Mary Miller, and she's running against, guess what? Guess who? Kinzinger's buddy, Rodney Davis in the Illinois 15th. So let your people know we got to help Mary Miller get elected in Illinois 15. That's her seat. Rodney Davis is the current congressman for the 13th, but he is Kinzinger's buddy. And so are a lot of the establishment GOP folks in Illinois that have been doing this over and over again. They control a lot of the money in the party. They don't like conservatives running. They don't like people stepping up who love our country, stand up for our platform, and will fight in Congress as a House Freedom Caucus member. And they want to stop us. So I've got some of those opponents of mine in my race. We got to take him out in the primary, and I'm going to need all the help we can get. But yeah, Adam Kinzinger is, the good news is
Oh, he muted.
Yep, you muted yourself, Jim.
still there. I said he couldn't run for dog catcher and get elected here in Illinois. I was out there campaigning, and I know what the people said. I would tell them, look, in LaSalle County, in spite of the fact that he had establishment support, outspent me like 15-1. I got 40% of the vote in 2018. Now I've got LaSalle County in this new 14th district. And those people, they know now what Adam is. And if you'd ask the same people, did you vote for Adam in 2018? Yeah, I did. Now nobody would hardly vote for him. There's a handful, but that's it.
Isn't that what they all do, though? They all want to take their turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Put my buddy in when he's done, then I've got another buddy that I'd like to run. And I mean, they all take their turn. This is how they keep control.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what's going on in my race. We have actually 4, I'm going to call them out for what they are, carpetbaggers running in the race in the 14th district. And then we've got 2 of us who actually live in the district. There's me and there's the establishment guy. The establishment guy, by the way, has endorsed Richard Irvin, who's a Democrat that the Illinois GOP, they claim they didn't do this, but the Illinois GOP is running in the Republican primary for governor in Illinois. So one of my opponents has endorsed him, and the other 4 don't even live in the district. And that's kind of where we stand.
Wow.
It just shows how dirty politics are, especially when it comes to Illinois. But back to the 14th congressional district, Jim, are there any differences from the last district you were in and to the newly formed district in 14, and when it comes to issues and what's on the people's minds there?
I don't know that there's a huge difference. It's definitely geographically a lot more agriculture, but we still had a lot of that last time. But it's different counties and more agricultural focused counties. Plus, a lot of the new district has some of the Illinois nuclear power plants and a lot of power production and formerly some coal plants, which the Democrats in Illinois have been shutting down. So they are trying to literally get us into rolling brownouts here. And they have a 5-year plan as of right now to shut down all of our energy, our actual real producing energy things in lieu of green energy in Illinois. And they have a plan to shut us down both on the nuclear front and on the coal front. And if they do that, if they accomplish it, Illinois is going to be rolling brownouts like California. It's going to be bad. Prices are going to be high. We have to buy it. Well, Indiana, you guys are going to benefit because we'll have to buy our energy from you. So there you go. But it's huge issue. That's big in the district. But just like everyone else, gas prices, inflation, the high taxes that we have, both federal high taxes and state high taxes, driving people out of Illinois. That's why we've lost 1 million people in a decade, and that's why we lost a congressional seat. We should have lost 2, but Biden administration, let's say they gerrymandered the numbers and we only lost 1. But those are things that are really important to the people in this district. And we've also been last thing, it's freedom. I mean, people are sick and tired of the Democrats in Illinois. We just got rid of our mask mandate a couple of weeks ago. They still are pushing vaccine mandates. In Chicago, the mayor's going to fire police more than they've already fired or have already early retired or left, but they're really going after them. And it's like, to me, first of all, it's a violation of Illinois law. There's an Illinois law, ILCS 745-70, paragraphs 111 and 112. And there's federal law in the Constitution. So I'm not sure why the police are not going after the city. If I was in that police union, I'd be going after the city and suing them on this stuff.
Isn't it the plan, though, is to squeeze the middle class out?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way I feel about it. And it's really about driving prices up, squeezing the middle class out, giving them handouts. That's what they just did in Washington. My opponent, Lauren Underwood, just signed onto that big spending bill, and that's designed to give handouts to their friends and their voters in Illinois and other places around the country.
Absolutely. That way we become dependent on the government. And we all know there's 7 words that I fear the most is I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim, you being a common sense guy, another big issue that we have in this government, in what we live in, is federal spending. How do you plan on going to DC and getting that under control? Because, all of us here that are within the sound of our voices, we have to live within a budget, but it seems like the federal government is the only person or entity that is exempt from living within a budget. And anytime they need money, they can just print it like it's going out of style. How do you as a conservative going to Washington, D.C., help get the federal spending under control?
Well, it starts by, and I've said this, and I'll hold to it. I will not vote for any of these omnibus bills that have every sort of waste, fraud, and abuse in them, and they're taking our money and giving it back to us, pennies on the dollars to us and taxpayers in the states. We got to stop that. We need zero-based budgeting in Washington. We need a balanced budget process, and we need to get more House Freedom Caucus members. That's me and the House Freedom Caucus are there. We get enough of us in there. We're going to stop it. We're going to stop the madness, get rid of bureaucracies and departments we don't need. Like I start with the Department of Education, Department of Energy, and there's probably another dozen we could go after and either curtail or eliminate and stop the madness in Washington. Because I know this, and I did study economics at Purdue there in West Lafayette in Indiana, and I can tell you this, this does not end well. There's no country in history that went on spending sprees like this that effectively survived it in that form of government, and we have to stop it, and it's high time we do.
And something that coincides with federal spending that I just touched on, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. And a lot of people are worried, especially if you live down in the Del Rio sector of Texas, is the southern border. And we see how the Biden regime, just signed $800 million to be sent to Ukraine for military aid. But yet there's no money that can be sent down to the brave men and women that are working the border, patrolling the border, trying to keep it as safe as possible. How, as again, a MAGA GOP candidate yourself, when you get to DC, the southern border is a huge topic, and how do you help secure that? Because how can we send troops over to a foreign country's border to secure it, but we can't secure our own border here at home?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's absolutely, it's a constitutional duty of the Congress and the presidency to defend our borders and secure a nation. So, Trump always had this right? He was the one that got it done, and then Biden stops it and then opens up the floodgates to actually probably worse than what we were before Trump was in office. And now we've got these floodgates up. Look, I've worked with people from around the world. I'm on my fourth passport. I've traveled to workplaces. I've worked in Mexico. I've crossed the border at Eagle Pass, at Reynosa, which is across from McAllen, Texas. I've flown into Mexico City, worked north of it in one of the mountain towns, and stayed in the city of Pachuca weeks and weeks on various projects. I've been down there. And you know what? We're not against anybody. We're not against people coming here, but we want them to come the proper legal way. And if you didn't come here legally, we have to stop that. So it's also about what message Congress sends to the people of the world that says, look, these are our rules and we're going to follow them. We're going to enforce them. And if you have that in place, then you won't see this mass migration. But when you do just the opposite, you do what Biden did, you do what the Democrats are doing, and it's pretty much saying, hey, just come on in. It's wide open. Just keep pouring in. And people will pour in. And this is bad for both their home countries, and it's bad for us the way it's being handled, right? You're taking people who, if their own countries would actually treat them well, they could prosper and work hard in their own country. And those that need to come here, let's do it the legal way. You need to have a legitimate process and a legitimate way to get here, like pretty much every one of us and our ancestors did. So, that's the way to do it. So,
right. We don't even know who we're getting. They come in, they're undocumented. We don't know their history. We don't know their health. They're going to overwhelm our healthcare system, our welfare system. And we can't survive like this. This country will not survive under this type of load of mass. I don't call it immigration. I call it an invasion.
Yeah. Look, you talk about an invasion. That's exactly what's going on the southern border, and it's got to be stopped. It's not good for the people coming. It's not good for our country, and it's another disaster created by the Biden administration, right? We had it in check, and we were working on it. Congress never did pass the right laws. And look, I support the Numbers USA process and program. They've rated me as a true reformer multiple times, and that means that we're going to support only legal immigration. We're going to do it the right way. And we also need to look at the numbers right now. When you have this kind of migration coming into the country, and you take and not even just the border. Look what they did with the refugees from Syria, and they're taking refugees now from Afghanistan and all over the place without being vetted. I mean, we have to stop that. We cannot allow that to continue.
Right. If that program was so good and it worked so well, why were they putting these people on planes and buses in the middle of the night, dropping them off in the interior of the country and giving them papers on what they need to say when they're caught?
Yeah, exactly. And look, compare it to what's going on in Ukraine. Mostly women and children are the ones leaving. The men aren't leaving. And you look at these other migrations from the, let's say, the countries that sponsor terror, where the terrorists hang out. And those countries, what you're seeing is lots of, young, able-bodied men coming through it. And we're not vetting these people. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why aren't they staying to defend and fight for their own country? That's what the people of Ukraine are doing. And so, there's a problem there. You can see the dichotomy when the two examples right in front of us, right? It's right in front of our eyes. Right.
You're talking about fighting age men too, not just men, but fighting age men.
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm still a fighting age man, but I'm much older than what you would typically think of that. But yeah, we all have to fight, and no matter what our age and but you're right. I mean, when you typically look at the military, it's going to be our strong young men coming out of high school and college. And that's what you're seeing in some of these groups that are coming over here. It's like, what are they doing and why are they here?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Jim Marter, GOP candidate in Illinois' newly formed 14th Congressional District. Something else that has been a topic within the conservative base here for the last year or so is accountability, maybe longer than that, specifically government officials and one Anthony Fauci. When you go to Congress, are you going to push for not only this individual to be held accountable for the malfeasance that he has done to this country for the last 2 years or so, and potentially crimes against humanity for basically killing people in when it didn't have to happen?
Yeah, look, needs a full investigation, right? And we need to start looking.
You may have muted yourself again.
I did it again. I think I keep clicking my keyboard when I'm leaning forward. So yeah, we got to look at the VARS reports. We have to look at what's really going on. I was talking with a doctor from New Jersey yesterday who I met at CPAC. And, he was telling me about this, and, being a doctor in the medical community, you literally could not speak out against the vaccine, or they were going to fire you. They're going to take your license away for spreading false information. I mean, you got to be kidding me. This is America. This is what was going on. That is criminal. What they were doing is criminal. It needs investigated, needs prosecuted. This is 2 years of this criminal activity, stopping doctors from practicing medicine and nurses and people who were speaking out and silencing them and not letting the free market work its way. And we would have had much fewer deaths from the virus, from the Chinese virus, right? It was created in the Wuhan lab and released. So these are the things we have to take account, and who was involved and who was involved in it. We need to have investigations. We need to take those people and hold them accountable. Nobody has been held accountable for this in the last 2 years. Nobody's been held accountable in the last 4 years for all of the mess that's been going on in Washington. And it's high time that we hold these people accountable.
It seems like to me, a lot of agencies have been weaponized against the American people.
That's right. Look, I mean, it's absolutely true. I mean, you're going after parents, school boards. You know, you got the Biden administration saying we got to get those terrorist parents that are talking. Well, guess what? I was one of them that spoke up at school boards this last year, and so did a lot of my friends. And they're out there. All they're doing is trying to control what's going on. And you got the government targeting us. You had the government targeting through the IRS 10 years ago, and it's like back on steroids, where they're targeting conservative groups. They're trying to match up our data, and they're also trying to match up our medical records now and go after us. Do you have a vax? Do you not have a vax? Well, what else are they going to look at? I mean, they're going to look at our whole medical records and say, okay, well, since you have this or you have that, we're not going to give you this or that. I mean, there's no end to it. This is, by the way, what Sarah Palin was warning when she correctly talked about the death panels, right? Can't say that anymore, right? But there you go. I just said it. This is what we have to stop in our government. They're weaponizing our government against us. Let's get them out of our pockets and out of our lives. And let's start by cutting everything in the government. The size and the scope of the federal government, I'll be relentless to go after it and cut it down, because it needs to be cut down to size and get back to what is constitutional. That's what drives me. And just kind of tied to my race here. Look, you got a bunch of people hop into the race. They all think they should be the next congressperson. Now, I don't even care about that. I have a 35-year career in the private sector. I do very well. Thank you very much. But I'm tired of the Kinzinger clan type rhinos that go to Washington under the Republican banner. And I want a fighter in Washington. There's not a real fighter in my race. There is one. That's me. And, it's time to take him out first in the primary. And then we'll take out Lauren Underwood, who's just part of that socialist Marxist Democrat party that can't get enough big government. They have no bounds. They don't even really care what they're doing. They're just doing everything they can. And they want to take our money, and they want to give it away to their friends. And it's the friends and family program of the Democrat Party. And, they want to buy votes. They want to buy elections, and they want to put us all into their little system of we pay to play, and otherwise you don't get anything. So.
Exactly. They want us to have nothing, and they want us to be happy with it.
Right. I mean, the whole Green Andrews thing, it's such a disaster, and it's part of the plan. And it's like they throw so much at us on multiple fronts. I mean, sometimes you look out there, it's like, how did we get here? But it's because we have to stand up. It's time to stand up. This is our generation's fight. And that would be every generation that's voting age all the way up to till you stop breathing. We got to be fighting, and we got to be taking this back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is what I love about the candidates that are running, not only running to inject some fresh blood into the MAGA GOP, but to de-seat some of the rhinos or longtime people that have held that seat, like you mentioned with your opponent there in the general in Lauren Wood. But Jim, I know we need to wrap things up. How's the campaign going? What's the outlook here in the next few months as you get closer to the primary, and then when is your primary?
So it's June 28th. We're just about down to 3 months, a little over 3 months left. I've got the best grassroots campaign. I've got over 100 endorsements, some really important national endorsements, starting with former Congresswoman and presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann. I also have Congresswoman Mary Miller of Illinois, of my state, who's endorsed me. She's a member of the House Freedom Caucus, and just lots of local good Republicans, elected officials, Republican Party chairman in a couple of my surrounding counties. I'm the chairman of my own county, township chairman in Will County and in Oswego and Kendall County. And then I have county board members, lots of folks on my team helping me. We're grassroots. I'm the grassroots candidate. We're all out there. We're working hard, and we're going to take out the 4 folks that can't even vote for themselves in this race, and the establishment Republican who likes to support Democrats in Republican primaries, and is a buddy to Adam Kinzinger. So these are the kind of people we're going to take on and take out.
Yeah, that is absolutely what I love to hear. Definitely going to keep an eye on you for sure. For people that are interested in following you, what you're doing on social media, following your campaign, or donating to your campaign, Jim, where can they do that at?
Yeah, my campaign and my social media accounts all are my last name, Marter, the number 4, the word Congress, and then .us for the website. And it's just Marter for Congress on our social media accounts. So Facebook, Twitter, we're trying to get into Truth and some of the other ones, but so that's where we're at. And I can use your support, your help. It's important. This is one of 5 seats that we need to take back the House. It's definitely a winnable district. It's rated a D4, and in this climate where the Democrats are turning off everyone and fueling inflation, this is a year we're going to win. We're going to win big here in Illinois. We're going to win big around the country, but I need your help to do it. So.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Get out there, help Jim any way you can, because you said this be a D+4, and with as much turmoil as the left has, this, like you said, is very winnable. So get out there and back Jim any way you can. Again, give your website, Jim, before you head on out.
Yeah, it's Marter, my last name, marter4congress.us. That's MARTER, number 4 congress.us. And thanks so much, Derek and Janet, for having me on. Great to see you at CPAC, and hope to see you again soon. So.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. We'll cross paths again, I'm sure, before the general, and we'll bring you back on.
Yep. God bless you and your listeners. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. You too. Go check out Jim Marter. Go check him out. I'm telling you, the sky's the limit, Janet, for this individual. And
absolutely. And some people need to understand, you don't need a big war chest to win some of these races, because the Democratic policies are so bad. People are so fed up with what's going on. It doesn't take a huge war chest to win some of these races. When they see somebody like him, step up to the plate, we have to get behind these guys. We have to get behind them, and we have to support them however we can.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. You're right. And the last, what was it? The election in New Jersey, was it? Yep. Where you had the truck driver with $182 won a seat. So, was able to get a seat at the table. So yeah, you're absolutely right that it doesn't take a huge war chest, but Jim landing in the newly formed district that he landed in, it only being a D+4. That bodes well, like I said, especially what the left and what the Democrats are doing. I understand it is Illinois, but it only takes a few people to change their mind, especially when you're only in a D4 district right. to flip that seat. And I am fairly certain if Jim was to come out on top there, not only in the primary but in the general as well, I think you want to talk about shaking up Washington D.C. I don't think they've seen anything that they would see when Jim Marter comes to town.
And you have to commend people like this who are stepping outside of their own personal life to take this task on. Do you have any idea you're talking about mudslinging, you're talking about, there's no bottom as to how far the Democrats will go to run a Republican off. So I have to give hats off to people like that who are stepping up to run in their districts, because they probably have a good idea of what they're going to be up against. So I think applause, to anyone who's stepping up, school board, whether you're running for Senate, whatever it is, hats off to you, because it's not going to be an easy thing.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. And we wish Jim nothing but the best. I do see, Janet, during our interview that Patriotsky has joined us here. I'll bring him in, and then Sonny, I want to get your comments as well there. If you were able, and I don't know how much the interview you caught with Jim, but what was your takeaway from that, Patriotsky? Then I want to bring Sonny in as well.
Well, I mean, that's the very reason I decided to hop in here. I was very impressed with Mr. Marter's, everything he had to say. I mean, we continue to get really, really good candidates to run against these other folks out here who don't seem to have a clue, don't really care to have a clue, apparently. But I just felt compelled to jump in and say, you go, Mr. Marter. And it's not Marter with a Y. It's
good point. That's so. Oh my gosh, and just like Patriotsky said, a lot of these people don't know what's going on. It doesn't matter. It's who's putting money in their coffers.
Yep, and he's a real breath of fresh air, as so many of our new candidates have been, our America First candidates. And gosh, I would hate to be a Democrat coming up for 206 days and counting, folks.
I love the fire in these candidates' bellies. They are fed up. They're just like the rest of us. They're sick and tired of watching our hard-earned money be taken from us, whether it be taxes or otherwise. And we're all just sick of it. We've reached a point in this country where they've turned up the water on us frogs in the pan, and the water's starting to boil, and we're hopping out. We're sick and tired of it.
Boy, ain't that the truth? I mean, it's just, folks, it is time to get involved. And when I say involved, I mean involved with capital letters.